Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Cho Thoughts Podcast. I, of course, am the Big Cho. This is not anybody you've seen before. This is somebody brand new, somebody for the first time's coming to the podcast to learn about podcasting. This is a friend that I just have met through another friend of mine. This is Mandy, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give her a hand. All right. Hey, Mandy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am glad
So,
to be here.
so you and I got basically paired up together because you're interested in doing what I do, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what what made you want to start doing this?
Podcasting. Podcasting has been on my bucket list for several years now. Um, I've always felt like I was drawn to sharing like my life story with the world, but also positively influencing others and um, inspiring others to be their best selves. And so I was like, I'm just going to do this. And a girl that I work with, she's like, Mandy, let's just do it. Let's just start. And I was like, deal, let's just start. So then I made that post, and then Cora tagged you in it. And I was super excited because so far you've been very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a similar story. Not the job I currently have, but the one I had one before this where I worked for like a construction company. And there was a kid, Austin. I shouted him out a couple times in the beginning. Like, he is the reason why this show is at 114, 15, 16 episodes, and why it's took off the way it has. Is we were sitting there just discussing topics, and we were just like randomly bullshitting and just having funny conversations. He was like, "Man, it'd be crazy if you had a podcast." And I was like, "Man, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? You got to devote your time to it." And like at that point in my life, I wasn't in the greatest of places, so I contemplated about doing it, not doing it, and then I remember that I saw that Spotify for podcasters, you can like try it out, see how it is, and I gave it a shot and it was like a bug. Like I was like, oh, that's not bad. Like, all right, cool. Mind you, anybody who has listened to the first episode until now understands that it was only like 25 minutes to a half hour long. But the premises was I had those nerves, like, nobody's gonna listen to this shit, you know. And you have those, like, you have that self-doubt. You're like, who's really gonna want to hear about relationships? Man, was I wrong. Because it just took off. And I remember going into work that following week and told him, like, hey man, you're not gonna believe this, but I actually did a podcast. And he was like, man, shut the fuck up. Are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And then I was doing it for a little bit, and then like I lost the password. And then I couldn't find it. And then I was just like, the hell with it. So I just shelved it. And then one time, like 3 years later, I was just playing with my phone and it unlocked. So I changed it to a different password, and I just shot a little snippet and just said, anybody who's been still watching this or wonder if there's new content, I unlocked it. So we're going to try to start firing out episodes. And then one thing led to another to where we got the video. And I guess the rest is history. I couldn't believe I've passed 100 episodes. Like, that was crazy. Like, my goal is to just my goal wasn't to get internet famous or famous off of it. It's just funny that people are listening to it and then people like reflect off it. Like, I have certain clients that watch the show, and then I'm like, great. I forget that I'm on a national, like, I'm on the world, like the world watches me. So I can't like talk shit on a client or something like that. Got to keep like my P's and Q's when I have to like vent out about my job. I try to keep it disclosed as possible. But similar to yours, it was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I just wanted to do it. So when Cora tagged me, I was like, sure. Usually, I mean, I'll be 1,000% real. I don't really go on Facebook. Like Facebook isn't my main platform. It's more Instagram. And usually my thing has always been, if you need my attention, you should tag me. So when she tagged me and I was like, this is somebody, this isn't even her. And then I was reading the caption and I was like, shit. Okay. Yeah. Like, yeah, for sure. So, and then that's when I like DM'd you and I was like, look, if you, whatever you need, you know, and then I was like, just to get, you know, not make you so unsettled, I'd bring you on the show. And then I know a lot of people are gonna be like, who the fuck is this person? Yeah. Well, that it helps because like I've had other guests on here where they are relaxed. Or after we get done shooting, they're like, wow, this, you know what, that wasn't so bad being on camera or discussing topics or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, as the host, I try to make the guest as comfortable as possible. So with that, do you would you like to touch on anything in particular with podcasting?
So I know that you kind of touched base on what kind of got you started. And so I would say for me, it's pretty similar where I've had so many conversations with so many different people, and they're just like, Mandy, you are meant to inspire so many people. You are meant to share things with the world. You're knowledgeable. Um, and so when Hannah was just like, yeah, let's do this. Um, and then, of course, having like the nerves first starting out, we're both like, we're just going to sit and we're going to talk to each other, pretend that the camera's not even there. Right. And I told her, I was like, I think like the biggest piece of this is after you understand like the platforms that you're using, the editing, like, because you have a good intro and maybe you have an outro as well, I'm not sure. But editing like those pieces of it. And so once we just get all of that figured out, I was like, I think the biggest hurdle is just starting and then staying consistent and posting content once a week or whatever it might be. Is that what you do? Do you post like once a week?
Yeah. Some once in a blue moon, I will fire out 2 episodes a week, but that's few and far between. Um, the consistency, I will tell you straight up, is key. It's key because it's people like the viewers that are watching right now that I'll get, where the fuck was an episode this week?
Sure.
And then you're like, well, hey, hold on now. Like, you have children, I have a child. Like, life gets a little messy, gets a little hectic at times. So now when I don't have an episode, people are like, oh, hey, what's going on? No, the show's canceled. No, no, no. I'll even go as far as to broadcast it on socials and be like, there's no podcast this week, but there will be one next week. And sometimes people don't go for that. It's just like the now, now, now. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fantastic. But at the same time, like, my son has something to do, or we're like, now it's the holiday season. Like, I'm going to be go, go, go. And I'm sure like that would probably be the same with you or whoever, or you have things to do with your children. That's the only thing that's a little bit of an irk. But if you can try to get it out, or what I'm trying to do now is build episodes. So if something like that leaves me astray, I have a filler episode where it's just like, okay, I'm good for this week or at least 2 weeks, and that's good for the next one. Um, my intro is the same as my outro.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, my wonderful friend Eric, who goes by Big E on the show, he's actually the one he made my logo, he made my intro. He's a very great creative mind. Like, he has a background in graphic design. Yeah, so it kind of went in my favor. Like, the stars were kind of aligning. So he was like the brainchild for like the logo, the intros, and he and I together kind of kickstarted it, getting it on video, which if I thought that being on audio was nerve wracking, the first one for video, oh my God. If people had a behind the scenes before we hit the record, I was like sweating bullets. I was like, I just kept thinking to myself, nobody's going to watch this. Nobody's going to care. Oh my God, what am I wearing? Is this okay? Is this right? Do I look okay? Is the camera, does it add 10 pounds? I was like losing my shit. So, um, then once we got done, I was like, hmm, all right, not bad. And then once I got about 3 to 6 episodes in, I found my groove. I just knew it was easy, and like the consistency is very key. Um, Also, my thing is it's once a week. Try to maintain it to once a week. You know what I mean? You don't want to fire out 2, 3, 4 episodes all week because then it's going to drain you away from your personal life.
Absolutely.
Um, but I mean, but another thing I can suggest is if you can knock them out, like when the kids aren't busy or doing something, and you have the free time yourself and you're able to line up a schedule, maybe try to do kind of what I'm doing now. Have just one or two in the vault or in the tank for something later down the line. It's just something to think about. That I've learned that the hard way because people are so focused on it or hyper fixated on the show that they're just like, it's Friday, it's past 9 o'clock. Where's the episode? And I'm like, dude, I'm working. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing. But it's great now because now we have a fan base. So you get it, but then you're like, okay, calm down. Like it's coming. I
Right.
don't have I don't have no like editors, no team. It's all me. 100% it's all me. And I was think I disclosed with you like off air and while we were talking, like I have an iPhone. So if I have to edit it, I run it through, of course, StreamYard here. But StreamYard has their own editing system too. And it can only be edited from like the beginning and the end. So if you have like the way you're starting it, like right before we started, you could cut it off, chop that off, and start with the intro. Then you can go to the end, chop that off, go to the outro. Where I can take it in iMovie and I can break it down. So if I have, so my thing is like this: if I had a segment with you and it ended, and then I had another person, I just did this for my Halloween one. I had one person on there, and I was like, oh shit, I only have 30 minutes of show. And then I realized, oh, StreamYard updated their application. So now you can pause it and still continue the show in the same location. But you could also, in iMovie, I can take it, I could, if I wanted to manipulate it, take one and then another from another show and just blend them together. But now I can run them together. And what I do is in iMovie, you can like fade in and out. There's a lot of things I can do with it. But before you couldn't. You were just like a straight shot. And, that'd be it. But then a lot of these have been done in one take, and people don't believe me. And I tell them, like, no, I do because I leave the rawness in it. When something goes awry or life happens, I want it as real as it can get. And that's why I keep it the way it does. Because it's like, oh, they fucked up. Yeah, we did. And it's funny. You laughed at it, you smiled, you smirked, you enjoyed it, or you're like, oh, what the hell just happened with that? Like, yeah, that brings the comedic value to this show. Like my show in general is a melting pot of everything. It's a
Absolutely.
potluck. It is a potluck podcast. Is basically what it is. I'm honestly shocked I have not changed it to the potluck podcast because let's face it, it's what it is. But the original idea for it being the Cho Thoughts podcast was back in the day when there was the Vine app. That's how I met Cora. Shout out to Cora. But that's it would be the thoughts that would come off my head, and you only had 8 seconds, so you would make up some random nonsense that you would see in life, or just random acts of dumbness, stupidness, and you would bring it to fruition. And then I kind of had it on Facebook where I would do like little quotes and stuff like that. And then my idea for this was like, oh, well, it kind of is like a day in my life, like random stupid shit, or they'd be intricated or somewhat in the show something, because I feel that it's more than just me. People experience dumb people every day.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
yeah. So I was just like, ah, fuck it, keep it. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, okay. Um, I don't like, I'm looking into like an LLC for the show, because eventually you'll need that as you
Yeah.
start creating steam with it. Um, that part I haven't got through to yet. I got a buddy in Florida that's actually looking and all the details for that for me, but I'm like, that's pretty easy, but I just don't get I have, just the time. The time is more crucial than anything, because next thing I know, somebody will have like a Timu version of my show somewhere, and I'll be like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want that. Um, but the show is very simple, very simple. Like, I don't have a two set camera or something like that, where I don't really get a chance to shoot on location with somebody like right across from me, because obviously the world we live in now, this is very easy.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
plus it's nice that I can talk to people from everywhere. Like, I just did the podcast with my friend from California. You're in Iowa. So
Yep.
this is so easy for me that it's just like I can have anybody I want on my show, and I don't have to come to them or they have to come to me. So a lot of people have asked, like, oh, it's not like a studio setup. No. Like, one, again, to me, it's just my hobby. I don't know what your intentions are. Maybe it starts out that way. Shit, it could bloom into something great, and I would love to be a part of making that happen.
Yeah.
So, but do you have an idea of what you're do you have see you're brainstorming? You obviously have somewhat of an idea. What will your podcast be about?
So that was one of my questions I think I was going to ask you, because
Sure.
there's so many online presences that have gone viral, whatever. They're like, oh, you need a niche, you need a niche. But like, I've thought about, okay, what would my niche be? I don't know. I'm so interested in so many things that I'm like, I can't just pick like one thing. So I think overall it's going to be like real life, like just being super authentic, things that Hannah and I have been through, things that could have turned us hard, but we chose to heal, we chose to rise up, we chose to still be that beautiful light in the world, we still choose to be soft, we still choose to love, but at the end of the day also know that we deserve all of the good things too, and that boundaries are definitely very important, and not settling for less than like what we deserve, right? So I think it's just like you had said in the beginning when we first started this, you're like, oh, I don't know anybody that's going to want to hear about relationships, but relationships are so relatable to everybody in every aspect, right? And so just being that authentic, your authentic self, and sharing that with the world, you do get those people that are like, whoa, I needed to hear that. I needed that validation, or whoa, I needed that inspiration to pick myself up and keep carrying on. And so our podcast name is going to be Still Standing, because at the end of the day, we are still here, we are still standing, and we are still moving on, healing, growing, learning, all the things, right? So, but I think you can talk just about anything in that. So, yeah, that's kind of what our niche is.
I love it. I love the title of it. I love what it stands for. I love I love all the positivity involved in it. I love that, in the end, yeah, we all can still stand. And what I also dig about it too is, like, you can also anything, it's almost a reflection of this. Like, you can discuss anything, because in the end, good, bad, or indifferent, you will have, that is your niche. You know what I mean? That you'll still be standing. And then the way you can go from that though too is any event, anything could be turned into like a positive, or and the way you look at it, like you have something there. Like it's absolutely great. Like it's a wonderful thought out process. And then you can throw in little things here and there. Like, every podcast kind of does it. Like it's semi off track. Shit, this show goes off the rails sometimes. But yeah, but if your main focus and your focal point is, the authenticity of, you know, rising up, standing tall, standing still, like standing up, that's great. You know what I mean? And I think that it's a great focal point. It's a great premises, and it gets a lot of eyes on it because everybody has dealt with shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody, and it
Mhm.
can be from relationships to work to everyday lives, children. I mean, you got a lot. There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why like I when I decided the first episode was going to be about relationships, I was nervous, but I was like, I'm betting on myself. I was like, I think this can work. But I was like, because at the time I was coming from a place that I didn't want to be in. And it was really, really dark. And like, it was basically just like an outpouring of like, I did some fucked up shit. You know, my ex did some fucked up shit. I just kind of addressed it. But of course, don't name names and all that. Keep it low
Yeah.
key. You don't want to just, out somebody.
Right.
And then when I got done with it, it felt like this weight was lifted off me. Like almost like you were just talking to like therapists that were just listeners. And I'm like, oh, oh, wow. And then like the next episode, I was like, well, that one was a slam dunk. And I was like, well, I really don't want to stick to relationships, but it's like, it's okay to bring them in and out of segments because when it was just audio, you could break it down into segments. Like they would have little music cues and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I got something here. Like, okay, all right. So I was like, all right, well, we'll talk about this, this, and this. And then I started like pulling a little bit away from relationships. But what's funny is it's always been in there, intertwined in it, because everybody has some relationship with either a loving relationship, work relationship. A relationship is a very key thing. It's very
Absolutely. Yeah.
so when there's times where like one episode I'll be talking about sports with Eric, or I'll be talking about like horror stuff with my friend Kim, and then I'll sit there with my friend Samantha, who is a therapist, and we'll go right back to where like this all started. So it doesn't, like, the key premises of this show has never lost. It's never gone. Like, and then what's funny is like she'll say something, man, we were talking about this, and then we go right back down to where we were originally, like where the show started. And it's nice because it's like you're paying homage to the beginning of it, and you're never not going to talk about relationships and your experiences and like your story, somebody else's story, or they explain to you what situation they were in, or like we did an episode where times were really, really tough for me. And it was almost looking like this show would have never took off or it would have been really bad. And we did a suicide episode. And I actually explained my story. And it was a very empowering episode. But when I got done, again, I felt like, man, I told my story and I felt great. And what's funny is, just like you stated, people reach out and we're like, man, I didn't know that. Oh my God. And then somebody goes like, man, that helped me because if I need help, I know that, there's people around me. And I was like, shit, like, wow. You don't know what impact you have until you try it. Like, you don't know until you try it. So
Absolutely.
hearing what you want to do and how you want it, how you wanted to start it and knowing what you want to do with it and how you want it all to pan out. I think it's great. I think you'll do fantastic at it. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm here if anything happens or like you run into some kind of stupid like edit nonsense or anything like that. Um, I don't I don't have all the tricks of the trade. So I might come to you and be like, "Hey, you did this. How did you do that?" We're definitely going to be podcast pals for sure.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and then you'll have to pay it forward. You'll have to have me on yours.
Yes, please. I would love to have that
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then, we'll dig into relationships with me. And I was like, you might like have to have a couple hours because I might be here all day. But do you have logos? Do you have an idea?
So far I've created a Facebook page and created a cover photo for that Facebook page. I really like it. There could potentially be a spin on it. I was at Hannah's on Monday, I think it was, and we kind of recorded an intro and then an outro. My son is pretty decent at editing. So I had him listen to it. It was kind of echoey, but he was like, I can fix that in the one editor he uses. And so I'm excited for him to play around with it and see what he can come up with. But also knowing that you have a friend who is like tech savvy and is good at that kind of stuff, like maybe I could throw some cash his way and be like, this is what we're hoping for. Can you make it come alive? Type of thing. So that was cool. You shared that as well. Um,
Yeah, for sure. Eric, if you're watching this, be ready.
yes. But so also we talked about, okay, well, what platforms are we wanting to post on? So obviously YouTube is a major one. For whatever reason, I don't even remember how many years ago it was now. Like I had a couple of videos on my own TikTok page go viral. And then I woke up overnight and I had just about 15,000 followers. And I was like, what happened? you know? So
Yeah.
I was like, we can utilize my TikTok platform where you just break down like 1 minute clips, post them on there, and then have the link to take you to wherever. I would say like yours Instagram is your page that you use the most. Facebook has always been the platform for me that, for whatever reason, seems to draw like the most attraction. So I'll utilize my Facebook. Hannah
Yeah.
has a pretty decent amount of supportive individuals on her Facebook as well. Um, I know Spotify, you can only just do like audio, which do you feel Spotify is worth posting on?
Um, yes. I'd say yes and no. Like in the beginning, fuck yes. Because that's all it was audio. So I saw the numbers like just bang, bang, bang. They just kept going up. And then eventually when we switched to audio and video, then you saw the numbers decrease in audio, but that makes sense because we're a lot of people would rather watch than listen, unless,
Absolutely.
unless you're driving somewhere in your office or whatever. But you you also get a world demographic, and it's crazy because we started out where we were just being listened to in the United States, and then all of a sudden I saw like I did find it kind of funny. I was like, oh, it's the Chinese and the Russians trying to take my information because it was literally China and Russia that was like in the algorithm. Now I think I'm in like 40 countries.
Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't care if they're like spam callers, creditors, whatever. If they listen to the show, they listen to it. And to me, a view is a view.
Absolutely.
But that's the genuine wonder that is StreamYard is when you're done. Uh, It depends on how you shoot it. It depends on if you're one place, Hannah's another, you're both in the same place. Of course, you could turn the phone or whatever, or shoot it however. And then when you're done, it uploads it to a cloud. And then when you want to download it or distribute it, it will ask you for both the recording and the video.
Oh, cool.
So that's the blessing in disguise. Because then you just have both. You don't have to pull the audio from it. That's what I love the most. Because then I could just sit there and disperse both, one to YouTube, one to Spotify.
Oh, cool.
And then I do kind of the same as you, as I haven't in a while, and that's where I've been slacking because life is life. But I try to take like a clip from the show, like a funny part, something like or important. And like we just started a TikTok months ago because I was very anti TikTok because it just wasn't serving a purpose for me. But then the more after the 100th episode of the show, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna need a TikTok. I was like, because I have to get out there. And I just touched on this. I had I had a Cho Thoughts Instagram page, and it had the logo on it, well, the old logo, and they shut it down. So because my face wasn't on it, so I don't know if I need to run it now as a
Oh,
business.
sure.
Like I think I need to run it as a business page. So
Oh,
that's
I'm sure.
that's what I'm trying to figure out. Um, I thought about doing it like an actual Facebook page too, making that as a business model. And then, but I get more steam from my own personal than I don't like kind of like what you were saying. I don't know if this would be the same if I'm going to get the same amount of people, similar to like myself, my own personal, your own personal, and for an example, like Hannah's own personal, you know. But then I guess you would probably just have to start spamming the podcast account, with different clips, kind of like what I'm doing on TikTok. Or that would make me like if I were you, like how you went viral, like overnight on your own personal. Like I love that, and I'm all for it. But then it's like you're gonna have to eventually make the podcast
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, and obviously for starting out, you're gonna have more traction on your personal because people know you. Um, back, oh gosh, around 2018, I want to say, I started my own business called These Crafty Hands, and I made hand crocheted and knitted. Mostly hats were my favorite. I did an array of things, right? And so I just started out with that one where I was posting on like local for sale groups and I was getting sales. And then I created a page. But like said, it takes a while to get traction to that page. And then eventually I shipped to over half of the US and internationally twice.
There you
And I
go.
think by the time that I was like, I can't do this anymore because it's destroying my wrists. Um, and I like quit doing crochet and knit. I think my business page on Facebook at that time had like 1,000 followers, but that was literally me posting to that page every single day for probably 3 or 4 years straight. So it took me a very long time. And that was also me sharing those posts to my personal Facebook page, So it's so much work. And like you said, life is busy. You work full time. I work full time. You have a kid. I have kids. Life is busy. So I don't know, how quickly things can take off, but I also know that sometimes you can post something like on TikTok and it'll go viral and you wake up the next day and you're like 15,000 followers. What? You know? Um
Right. I didn't even do nothing.
yeah, it was just like a video, but I think like we talked, it was a video that was extremely relatable to so many people and they just kept liking it and sharing it and then I was like, "Holy crap, what the heck?"
Yeah, right. I think
So,
we got some traction there. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just
Yeah.
one of those things if you hit the algorithm right, you could blow up, but then like my business page on Facebook took me 4 years to even get to 1,000 followers. So, it's a hit or miss thing.
Right. And the thing is though, like I've told a couple people, like I don't mean to sound, I don't, for real, it's not my style. I don't try to sound cocky or brash. If I really wanted this podcast to succeed, it would. Like, it's just a hobby. But if I was to grind very hard into it, it would be like similar to like your business. I would have it on its own page, sharing it, doing this. I clip it each day, something stupid or funny from the show, or be ready to watch this one on Friday at 9 a.m. Like, there's a lot, but at the same time, you're right. We get pulled away in every direction. So, I mean, I would love it, but then it's like, no, well, this is why people have like publicists and this, and I'm like, hell no. Like, no, 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 no. It's not like that crazy yet. But um but right now, just with doing what I'm doing, it's got swell. You know what I mean? Like it's doing fine. Like obviously, if people are bitching at me because the show's not done on a Friday, I think there's some kind of traction or whatever. But
Absolutely.
like that doesn't. It's a slow grind. Like my grind's not done. It's just we're getting there. Like I didn't even expect it to be this far. I told people that before. Never expected it to go over 100. Like, so, like, bear with me because, like, I'm putting things in motion. It's just when it's slowly gaining its exposure. But,
Absolutely.
but just like you're going to expose your podcast on your personal to get kind of that traction control to get the momentum going. I mean, it's the obvious thing to do, but me, I just like, well, there it is. Like, and people are like, well, there's no page or whatever, and I'm like, no, I could just get the attention from my own.
Yeah.
But then I'll see people share it, and I'm like, well, what what's the point of having the other one? But then like for like TikTok algorithms and Instagram, like I get it. Um, like Eric still has the X account because I don't have a Twitter or X no more, but he handles the podcast one there. So when something goes on Instagram, he shares it on X, or like now it's intertwined with Instagram. So if I post it, it goes on Threads or whatever.
Oh, yep.
So it goes that way. But the one thing I have to start figuring out, and that's why I have to make like one whole account. That way, if I put something on Instagram, I wish it could just go to Facebook. I wish it could just all be dispersed.
So there is a way. You can link, so like my Facebook and my Instagram pages are linked. And I have had the setting turned on before, but then sometimes I get annoyed with it, so I switch it back off. But you can post something to Instagram and choose to have it also post to your Facebook. And I
Yeah,
think you can do it vice versa. And you can also do that on your stories that way as well, but in your news feeds. Um, and I think my son was like, Mom, there's an AI tool that you can use, upload it to that, and it'll post it to all the platforms that you want it to. So I just need to sit down with him and be like, okay, what is this tool? How do you do it? Like, teach me your ways because I'm getting old and I'm not with it. But so I think there's ways to make it easier and less time consuming because that was my other thing. I'm like, I don't want to be spending all this time like posting to all the different platforms. And I know I need to continue to draw the attraction to the podcast itself.
yes.
But it's just like I'm one person and I wear all the hats, right? So I'm just like, I need to figure out a way to be as efficient as possible, but still getting it out there and drawing traction. So
Yeah. When you find out this AI tool,
I will share for sure.
please, because I'm over here going, man, this shit's ridiculous. Because like before we would, so try to also pick like, no, Siri, we don't have the time for this. But try to pick. So if, say, you ladies want to do Friday 5 o'clock, that's when you drop the episode. Just hypothetically, try not to shoot it on Thursday.
Oh, for editing and such.
Yes, yes, because just, you may want it right, or something didn't jive a little bit better, or going to upload it, because if I sometimes it has happened where I'll go to upload it to YouTube and it just will keep spinning and spinning, and I don't have it open, kind of like a TikTok situation.
Sure. Yep.
And I would literally be like, oh, okay, before I went to bed Thursday night after we got done and we wrapped. All right, cool. Editing don't take me very long in StreamYard or in the iMovie now.
How long would you say is your average editing time?
Hmm. Hmm. StreamYard itself is probably 5 to 10 minutes.
Nice. Yes.
iMovie, because I'm still picking its brain and it's picking mine, that's roughly 20, 30.
Even that's not bad though.
No, because, but again, it is, I tell people, and of course, you're a newcomer to this world, this show is raw. So it's like I'm not clipping anything.
Yeah.
If I was clipping, man, I'd be here forever. But
Hours.
hours, just like the shit that happens on this show, I just sit there and go, no, no, we're leaving that in. Like, there's no point. But that's my niche. That's what makes this show as great as it is you don't have the same, like, that's what I wanted. I've heard podcasts and they're all very categorized, or they're particular to one subject or something of that nature. And I was like, no, like, why can't we just have a podcast? It's almost a Seinfeld feeling, like a podcast about everything instead of about a show about nothing. Why can't you just have a podcast about different topics every week, or different topics intertwined in one show? And that's where the show goes. It can go from one end of the spectrum to the other, from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs, like lifting somebody up, not necessarily putting them down unless you're some moron out in the world that did some stupid shit.
I
Then,
mean, I know a few of those. Just
right,
kidding.
yeah.
Go
So,
on.
right. So, see, you fit in right. You fit in here great. But that's what I wanted. And then after we got done recording the first couple, like, there was a spot where I was like, fuck, I gotta edit that. Like, as you're recording, you'll be like, in your head, be like, oh, I should edit that. And then I was like sitting there pissing around with it, and I was like, you know what? No, no, let's leave it, because I want it as real as the real world will listen to it. Like, everybody else has had that problem, or it's like something happens and you're like, oh shit. And then you hear me going, oh shit, or something like that, or where something is real, or the conversation goes off the deep end, and I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And I will say that, and then, like, people laugh at, like, our expressions or how we react, our reaction from something.
Yeah.
That is like what makes the show, like, it's good, it's wholesome, and it's again, it's raw, and it's not edited, so people's like, oh, you don't get somebody's true emotions. Not here. On here, you get our true emotion. And I think that's what people love about it the most, is it's entertaining. I mean, the only thing is, like, I love her to death, but my therapist friend, she'll hit you hard with some therapy, like some good ass therapist knowledge, and I love it because it also brings, like, some sort of professionalism because of her profession. But then she can't disclose the clients, but then she'll start telling you about what happens with a client or whatever, and you're like, damn, like, okay. But, like, again, it's as real as it comes, and that's why, like, this show will never ever change, because if it did, people would be like, what the hell just happened to this podcast?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
did he just edit something? Like, like, no. I So that's why the editing process is very quick for me. And like now I'm starting to manipulate like, the blending of two segments and whatnot. It's kind of like a callback to the audio version where now you had like little segments in between. Now I'm doing it with video, and I'm starting to get a pretty good finger on the pulse, and I'm starting to get very, very familiarized with it. I think you'll both do great. Like, especially once you start the first, I'll give you this piece of knowledge. The first two, just wing it. Like that's what the show's all about though. So, but just wing the first one. Don't overanalyze it, don't overthink it, stick to your guns or whatever, and go from there. And then maybe the second one have like bullet points like off to the side. And then, or what you do is, and like where your camera's at, kind of have the bullet points like right back here.
Oh,
So you
sure.
see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that per se with the weeks that I have my son, because I usually have them on an iPad and they're like right here for me, and then my iPad's gone.
Oh.
So that's how it goes. And then I'm just like, shit, we're winging it. We're in deep, and we don't even got light in here. It's so dark. I'm like, oh God, okay. But I've also learned after so many episodes that I can seriously wing an episode from start to finish. And again, that's the beauty of my show. It can go off the rail, but I always seem to bring it back. Sometimes it takes me the whole fucking episode to bring it back, but I get it. I try to maintain some kind of context or what we were talking about discussing, and then wrap it into like the next segment or something like that. But the bullet points, I would, definitely have that on deck, because everybody's going to need it. And especially if you have guests, kind of do like what I did with you, the likes, the dislikes. What do you want to talk about? What do you don't want to talk about? And of course, you are absolutely an amazing guest, but it's also like the two things I do not touch on this show are politics and religion. I
Oh,
don't.
for sure. For
I
sure.
don't. It's like it's almost like you're just like, keep that out of here. Get out of the way. Get that
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Be, and then like I'll have somebody kind of go on like for example, I'll have somebody go on a Republican Party or the president, and I'm like, not here.
Nope.
Not here. I was like, and then people will think that I'm like, no, 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 no. This is like Switzerland over here. This is Basant or Sweden, Switzerland. It's not happening here. We're not doing this. Like the
No.
equal party. I'm like, we not up in here. I don't have time for
Absolutely.
that. And um, but I don't think you'll have that problem whatsoever.
No, so like when you put Hannah and I together, and at work sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, we should not sit next to each other, but at the same time, like we're getting our work done, right? Like we're doing the dang thing. But Hannah and I just like naturally vibe very well together. The conversation between Hannah and I can flow like the whole entire day. And so I think our first episode, we have it where we're going to introduce ourselves, obviously. And then we're going to talk about what our first impressions of each other were versus where our friendship has bloomed into now. And then the second episode, we're going to have it be probably like kudos to us, where we're just talking about how we are going to share the real, the raw, the authentic versions of us. Like you touched on when you were talking about the whole relationship thing where you messed up in your relationship, you did some really messed up things. She did some really messed up things. Like we're going to own our story fully where, yeah, we probably messed up and did some terrible things. But we've come full circle and we acknowledge that now and we've moved on from that and we've grown from that. But yeah, just kudos to us because we're going to share all of it. Like it's not going to be censored. And honestly, I wonder if like with Hannah and I, if we'll kind of sort of stream on something like this because like you said, it's extremely entertaining when you get to see like the facial expressions or how, somebody heard and they were like, what the heck? You get the real, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and that's what Hannah and I want to show is just the real, because her and I have never shared with each other what we both thought of one another the first time that we met, like when I first started where I'm at. We've never shared that with one another. And so that first episode is going to be true authentic reactions to this is what I thought of you when I first met you. And it went on for like a month before our relationship started to kind of bloom. So it's going to be very like raw and real reactions to what we're hearing the other ones say. So, and then obviously, I think like when we are kind of talking back and forth, we've kind of started a list of topics of things that we would like to touch on. And we could do the bullet point thing, but like you, I think we could wing episodes left and right because it's going to just be Hannah and I sitting down and talking back and forth on whatever the topic we decide we're going to talk on. And I'm sure we'll, you know, take a left field, whatever, but we'll circle back, right? So I'm excited and I'm ready to just dive in, I think, at this point. So
It's not hard because that's how the videos started. Was it was just me and Eric. He's been my best friend forever, and it's kind of like you and Hannah, where you could just have a conversation, and it's just he and I, just like this, and we're just the same way. We're going on the road over here, and then we get back over here, and then eventually it just went from us just shooting the shit, and then next thing you know, we're talking about topics, and then after that, it's like, wow, I think we could probably get a guest on here, and then it just, man, it just kept going. So I don't know. I think that winging is not bad. Winging it's not bad when you have the right person to do it with.
absolutely agree.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And and especially once you find people that you start building this with, and obviously if you're focusing the show on you and just you and Hannah, and of course the base of it is the two of you, and then of course guests and so forth. But
absolutely.
once you have it, girl, I tell you right now, I've winged about 98% of these videos. So it's not, it's telling you. Once you start, once you two ladies find your groove, you're unstoppable. It's very easy. So I'm there for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm
I
very
appreciate it.
supportive. When it comes out, you know, I'm sure I'll see it. I'll share it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's one podcaster supporting another one. You
Yes.
know, especially someone who's like influenced, like how to do this, what to do, how can I help you out? You know, fill in the jam jar.
Yes. Fill in the jam
Fill
jar.
in the jam jar. Did you not think I was gonna bring it on this episode? That's hilarious.
Like I didn't really think about it, but then you said it and I was like, yes.
Yeah, right. I was like, it's a great. I'm telling you, if you end up doing merchandise, fill the jam jar.
When I was at Hannah's on Monday after work, we did briefly talk about merch, doing some like t-shirts and sweatshirts maybe. Um, and then yes, filling the jam jar. And honestly, it goes so perfectly with what our podcast could be about.
See,
Look at
see,
you're helping.
I don't know. I'm sorry, dear. I kind of know what the hell I'm doing a little bit.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know when you said that and told me that the one time, and then like now you tell me what the podcast is all entailing. I was like, yo, your own words are a great T-shirt, like filling the jam jar, and I'm like, yo, that's a fucking great T-shirt. Like, that's a great shirt. Like, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, especially for the podcast and what it stands for.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm
Instead
all
of
for it.
filling your cup, we're gonna fill your jam jar.
That's right. And then you could have jam jars eventually too.
Absolutely.
See, and then it could be candles or something. Like we're going off the rail, and this is your show coming.
Absolutely.
See, I'm telling it's once you start though, once like probably like you two when you started thinking of ideas, oh my god, like that was me. Like I thought about merch, and then like it's like then that's more because you have to think about like a distributor, you have to think about all this, and I'm like, man, I'm already stretched thin because like my buddy Eric, kind of he just came on for when we went to the football game, but he hasn't been around in a while. He's been dealing with some personal issues and stuff like that. But like it's only been me about 80% of the time. So I mean, he used to do like editing and whatnot for me, but then like I learned it myself, and it's not hard. But you know, it can be a little tedious because like if I forget, I'm like, oh shit, oh my god, or something. Or if my son's here and I'm like getting him ready for bed, and then by the time I get ready for bed, or like I put dinner away and shit like that, I'm like, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I just
Yeah.
got the podcast and whatnot too. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get this done. And then I should probably make sure this is ready to go by Friday. And that's why I'm like, the earlier is the better. That
Yeah.
way you at least have a day or two to play with it before, distributing it out. But yeah, shit, yeah, I'm so excited for you.
Well, thank you. I am too. There was one more question I had for you, but now I can't remember what it is. So,
Are you sure? If you,
um, oh, I know what it was.
there you
It
go.
was you said that people are watching live. So, how are they watching live? Right? Is that what you said?
You can do that feature. So we were going to for the 100th, and then we realized the term you had to pay to play, and I
Oh,
was like,
sure.
fuck. Okay, so that was my total buzzkill because that's how I was going into the 100th. Because like I wanted everybody to see like the setup, us getting into position. I wanted like this to pull back the curtain a little bit, and then I was like, shit, shit. And like we shot it, and I felt some kind of way. I loved my 100th episode. I thought it was fantastic. But in the back of my mind, it's not what I wanted. Like what
Sure.
I wanted was to be live. So I can now, I guess I could break news that I can go live now.
Okay.
So like you and I were talking off air, like now that if you pay for it, they have like a core, a premium, and some atrocity that I'm like, who the fuck is spending that? Like, but for the like the core that I have, now I can do a live stream.
But then
And
also, how annoying would it be kind of like doing a live stream once in a while, I think would probably be okay. Because I think for me, it would be distracting seeing like the chat going if that was a feature and all the other things. And I'm trying to read what people are saying while trying to stay on topic. And let's face it, sometimes I have ADHD brain and I'm squirrel brained and I'm like topic hopping. So
I was
maybe
just gonna
it's
say,
not.
do you do the swirl,
uh,
swirl?
Oh my gosh, so bad sometimes.
Right? Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. Like God bless them, but my son's mother and my girlfriend are the same way. That is like, I'm like, dude, what do you? What? All right, okay, 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 it's fine. It's totally fine. I think that would be. I would have a squirrel moment with a live feed
Yeah.
because I would be right in your place as I'd be sitting there going, yeah, yeah, and I'd be buffering just like, no, we did do that. All right, shut up. Like, and then you're next thing you know, but it's like, I guess you would have to not pay so much attention to the chat. You'd have to have your conversation, but at the same time, just like look down like a couple times. Like you can't address everybody. even though you'd want to address everybody, but you would just have to disclose it in the episode. But like, hey, I'm trying, but we're also trying to shoot an episode here too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I fully, I fully support that too, because I'd be like, shit, fuck. Okay, now I can answer that person. Oh, we did. Damn. Yeah. Yeah. So I get it. I love that's what I would want to do is every once in a while, like live. Hey, we're coming live from blah 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 blah, or something of that nature. Like when we just went to the Pittsburgh Panthers Notre Dame game, I wanted to do it there. Like we're live because College Game Day was here, and there was so many. There was like 20, 30,000 people in the city of Pittsburgh, like at the game. And then I was like, yeah, but they're all probably trying to use the same tower that I am. So that's when I started. That's where like the podcaster in me started clicking in. Like, is the footage gonna look shit? Is it even? Are we gonna be buffering the whole time? Like, is this gonna work? And then I was like, no, fuck it. Like, I was like, so I saved all my video for a later episode. That's
Sure.
fun too, because you'll be able to put your own clips in here and stuff like that too. You'll learn how to manipulate it and get things in there and just try not to break the bank over it.
I'm gonna do my best not to. Um, I, despite looking bougie sometimes, am actually extremely frugal. So I like to spend as little money as possible. So yeah, I will not break the bank over it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you find something that's a little bit cheaper than what I was providing you with off air, let me know because I don't mind that either.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was
Right?
just thinking one of the like your when you say if you want to do a live episode, it would be instead of having like a topic that you're talking about, you're just going live Q&A. People can ask in the chat, you pick whatever and you talk on it. And that in itself could be hilarious because somebody like me gets on there who's already squirrel brained as it is, and then there's all these questions, so like you could really see like that side of me.
Right. I've actually considered doing that because I've had a couple episodes where there are questions that are sent to me, and like I have to bank them, and then like if that would be somewhat Mandy of a, like my filler episode would be like, hey, it's Q&A time with Paul. So it would be like, okay, boom, 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 and you could sit there and put the banner right here of what the question is, and then go from there. Like unlike this is scrolling right now, you could also have the banner above it and it's like this is the topic you're discussing. Then that would be helpful for you ladies too. That's what's helpful for me when I do the question segment. But that's a fantastic idea, Mandy, is to do a live Q&A.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
I help you, you help me. This is how this works.
we bounce all the ideas off of each other.
This is great. See?
Yeah,
And that's wonderful. I'm glad you were able to come on this show.
I was too. I was nervous at first, like a little bit. I was excited, um but honestly this last hour has flown by, so
Right? Well, thank you so much for being on here. I
thank you for
appreciate it.
having me.
Absolutely. That way I can kind of like get your toes a little bit in the water. And then, you know, when you're, I think you both will do great. I think that obviously you're not camera shy. You seem to come off just perfect on camera. Like you don't seem, oh my God, flustered or anything like that. Like you seemed very relaxed. A lot of people get very tightened up because they're going to be on camera. But yeah, yeah, I think yeah, you ladies are gonna do fantastic.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for um being the first ever host for me, my very first appearance on any podcast. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it so much. And I've really, really enjoyed this.
Not a problem. This has been Mandy. I of course am Paulie Chopek, aka the Big Show, and I will see you next week. Bye.